She is a work in progress, may not figure it out, but she'll do her best. Try to play it cool, but is always stressed.
But no matter what, she's a work in prog-mess.
That was good. Let's hear it. Hello, everybody. My name's Lindsay Bushing, and welcome to Work In Prog-mess. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life, so if you don't either, come on! Welcome! Let's not know what we're doing together. I have been so nervous, and even filming this now, I am absolutely pooping my pants. But, you know, I drank some $4 wine from Trader Joe's, and I looked in the mirror and I said, girl, you just gotta do it. The worst that's gonna happen is no one's gonna watch it, but that's not even what I care about. It's just so awkward to talk to no one almost. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to make this podcast because, you know, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing with my life, and I feel like this is not even, hopefully people will find this relatable, but honestly, this is a podcast for me. I have been through quite a lot the past 2 years, and I kind of just want to make this podcast for me to honestly talk it out. Obviously, I should go to therapy. I will do that, but sometimes, you know, you just really need to work some things out with yourself, and I feel like this would be a good platform or experiment for me to do so. And, you know, if literally one person can relate to me along this journey, then that's a bonus. So yeah, a little bit about me. My name is Lindsay. I'm 24. I live in Tampa. I graduated college in the summer of 2021, which is like kind of a long time ago now. And I definitely thought I would be somewhere different in my life than I am now. Not that I don't like my life. I do. I have a little cutie patootie boyfriend. And I have a bunny named Benny. And I have my own apartment. And I take care of myself. But just in the grand scheme of things, I really am kind of lost. And I'm not sure anymore who I am or what I want. What is my purpose? What do I want to do in this life? What is important to me? And I really want to use this podcast kind of to just talk things out and figure it out. I tend to do this thing where I overthink a lot in my head. I have OCD and anxiety, so already I'm having a quadrillion, gazillion, billion thoughts a day, and then I'm trying to think about other things, and it kind of just it gets lost in the sauce. So I really wanted to make this kind of for myself almost as something I can be intentional about and really listen to myself and take my own advice and just kind of hear myself out in oh my god, there are flies in my house. I'm so sorry. Just speak to myself in an intentional way where I can listen back to this and really kind of think upon my thoughts. I kind of want it to be like a journal. I really want to get into journaling, but it really hurts my hand to write that much. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but I was never able to choose a handwriting. I don't know if that's weird, but like I would always change the way I held my pen and the way I kind of wrote, and I have a hard time writing sometimes. I don't know what that's about, but when I have to write for a long time, which I would like my journal to be very, very long, it hurts my hand, and I switched my writing a lot, and it kind of looks weird, and I just don't really like it. So this podcast will serve many purposes. So I guess my story kind of starts, well, you know, August 25th, 1999. I'm just kidding. You know, I was in college. I was in high school. I was, you know, shy, kind of not popular, but like people knew who I was. I was at the party. I'm not talking to anyone at the party, but I did get invited. I would stand in the corner, but I was invited. So do with that what you will. I don't know where that places me in the high school social hierarchy, but um, I went to college, had a small group of friends. I studied political science and anthropology. Political science was my primary major, but I didn't want to graduate early, so I also did a degree in anthropology, and I ended up loving that so much. I wrote a thesis in college. I was a student athlete tutor. I worked in an bioarchaeology lab. I got to process the teeth of Peruvian mummies. That was a pretty cool moment um, for me. But anyway, I feel like I was a go getter in college, and then I graduated, and baby things went to shit. I got my first job, and let's just say I am a killer in an interview. I have my eye on the prize. I know what I want, and I'm going after it. I am not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty charismatic. I am obviously adorable. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see. And I feel like I have every single job I have ever interviewed for, I have gotten. So again, do with that what you will. Anyway, I got this job at a law firm, and I worked there for about 8 months. And at first, I was hired to be a legal assistant. And then someone left the firm and they promoted me to a paralegal for a very specific, ginormous caseload that they had. But no one taught me anything, and I was kind of just expected to know what was going on. But I'm not a paralegal, I'm not certified. I don't know what the hell's going on. And I got fired after 8 months. And at this point, I was 22, and that was a really, really, really big blow to my self esteem and my ego. I had never been fired before. I didn't think I would ever be fired before. I didn't ever think I would be fired. I had a full time job as a legal assistant in college. That was great. I worked there for a year and a half. And it was just something that I wasn't really expecting. And, I can go into this later. It was later on things were revealed, and it was not actually appropriate in the way they went about that. But anyway, that kind of started off my years of doom. Dun dun dun. So that was in March, and then I had just started dating my boyfriend, my lovely boyfriend Henry, little cutie patootie pie. I love him very much. Um, so I kind of was like, oh, that kind of really threw me into a spiral of I have no idea what I want to do. Before this, I had wanted to go to law school, and that was my main goal. Then I got fired, and then I was like, well, I don't know if this industry is for me at all. Like, maybe I'm just a stupid idiot and this is not good. So I kind of focused on dating my boyfriend and doing whatever else makes me happy, and I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to do. And then before I could really decide my next step, so July of 2022 is when shit got real, and my dad was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is um, a grade 4 extremely aggressive type of brain cancer. In brain cancer, they don't use stages; they use grades. So, I mean, it's basically the equivalent of that. But um, he basically was perfectly fine. I had literally been with him in Universal the weekend before, and then within one day, he was rushed to the emergency room. He ended up having a seizure. Everyone thought he had a stroke. Um, I was in Tampa. He lives in South Florida. He was rushed to the hospital. They didn't really know what was going on. They thought he had a stroke. My parents are divorced, but my mom was there because they're pretty close. She was giving me updates. This is also the time when my boyfriend and I are moving in together for the first time. We'd only been dating for about 6 months, but When you know, you know. I'm really sorry for everyone's ears for that. But so um he had they weren't sure what was going on. They did a bunch of tests. He ended up getting a CT and an MRI, and it came back as he had a very large tumor in his left occipital. I think it was his left parietal lobe on the side, the back of his head right here. If you're looking on YouTube, I'm pointing to it. If not, I am sorry. I will have to add an audio description. His left parietal lobe, and they scheduled him for surgery the next day. At first, we thought, okay, it's a brain tumor. Holy shit! But it could be so many things. In at this point, there was no way I was thinking that it was gonna be cancer. Like, that did not cross my mind at all. I was terrified. I drove down that day and I ended up staying at the hospital with him, and I really thought, I was like, oh my god, this is brain surgery. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Grey's Anatomy, but Derek Shepherd makes it seem pretty stressful sometimes. So I was like, oh my god, is my dad going to die? So, I got to the hospital. He was not aware. I spent the night with him. He had surgery. He was scheduled for surgery the next day. And he was scheduled for surgery the next day. And they took him in the morning. And I don't know if you have ever been in the waiting room of a serious surgery for someone that you love. You can relate to this feeling, but that was probably the worst moment of my entire life. That is the worst thing. I can't even describe to you. I am in this waiting room. They've got the status of people on a TV. You get a number for your person. And they update you on the status of if they're in pre-op, in surgery, post-op, whatever. And so it was just me, my mom, and a couple other members of our family sitting in that room for 5 hours waiting to hear something, not knowing what was going on. I feel like I honestly blacked it out. I think I was shopping on Urban Outfitters the whole time because I couldn't face reality. Like, that was the worst experience of my life. That is so nerve-wracking, and it was so weird to be in there with so many other people who were also waiting on their loved ones to get out of surgery. Like, the vibes in there are just not great. Anyway, eventually the surgeon comes out and we are so relieved. He's like, he made it through, whatever. And then he goes, however, we think he has brain cancer. And I don't know what to say next. And they say, we think he has brain cancer. We're not sure of the type, but based on I forget the words. I'm not a doctor, but like we needed to get pathology, but based on the way it looked, he was like, unfortunately, I think it could be an astrosarcoma, or a glioblastoma, which is the more advanced version of astrocytoma. And no one was expecting to hear that at all. That was literally as far from out of left field as anything could have been. And we had to wait a couple days. He recovered well. And it came back as glioblastoma. And the average lifespan for people diagnosed with glioblastoma is about 8 to 14 months, I believe. It is terminal. It is not curable at this moment. So that was a lot of information for me to digest in literally 2 days, and it really kind of set in motion the next, this was July 2022. Now it's March 2024. That set in motion the next, I don't know, year and a half of my life. And I am happy to say my father is still here. He is still around. He got into a clinical trial at Duke University Hospital. And it was originally a year. This March, it has been 1 year since he was in the trial. And he is doing so well. It's very exciting. He has been going every 3 weeks up to Duke for a year, and he gets an infusion into his brain of some medication. I'm not sure of what. It's got a very long scientific name. But so it's been a year, and recently they told him now he only has to go every 4 to 6 weeks. So that is very exciting. Instead of 18 times a year, he will only have to go maybe 12. And in July, it'll be 2 years since he was diagnosed, and I am just so grateful because there was many times, even last March, when he had another seizure, and it was kind of like I don't want to say a relapse, but how do I say it? So they removed the tumor, but this kind of cancer always grows back. And he had gotten radiation and chemotherapy, as it's just treatment. It's not a cure. But they said he'd be doing good, and then last March he had another seizure, and there was swelling in his brain, and the tumor was growing back. So somehow, by the grace of whoever is the master of the universe, he got into this clinical trial, and he has been doing so great. It is more than anything I could have ever asked for. He sends me pictures of his MRI every time he goes, and the last 2 times they have said his progress has been fantastic and some of the best results they have ever seen. So I'm happy. Like I couldn't ask for anything else. And I hope this will continue for him. I don't know what the future holds, but right now I'm just grateful that he's okay. But, that was a lot for me to take in, and the past 2 years have not been easy. There have been a lot of struggles, and I needed to reevaluate my life. Have I? That is what I'm doing now. Up until now, I've kind of just been muddling through it, but recently I have realized that I am lying to myself, and things have been worse mentally than I have been being honest with myself. And I was like, we're cutting this shit out. We're not doing that anymore. You deserve, life is short, obviously, as you have recently learned, and you deserve to be happy and not so mentally distraught all the time, I guess. So, we're working on that, and I want to use this podcast to really just talk through some things for myself, and really figure out who I am again. I think I really disconnected from myself and from reality for a long time. I still don't know if I've truly processed everything that has happened, but I'm ready to start, and I think that's all you can do. You just got to start and then see what happens. So, I'm a work in prog-mess. I have self-esteem issues. I have confidence issues. Hello, everyone. It's future Lindsay here. I don't know if you could notice, but I turned the microphone off while I was talking. So the last 20 minutes that I recorded of that episode, there's just no audio. So we're going to make this kind of like a 2-parter. So I'm going to release episode 2 at the same time as episode 1. Episode 1 will just kind of be an introduction to the podcast and just kind of feeling things out, and the production value and quality of episode 2 is much better than episode 1 anyway. So thank you all for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.